Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a cybersecurity threat that sounds like it's straight out of a spy movie. It's a threat that weaponizes the most basic part of a computer file, its name.
So let's just jump right in with a question that sounds completely made up. Can a file's name be a virus? I mean, seriously, it sounds impossible, doesn't it? Well, a security researcher over at Trellix just found out the answer is yes. And it's as terrifying as it sounds. The name of the file is the malware.
Okay, so how does this actually work? How in the world can you turn something as simple, as harmless as a file's name into a weapon for a cyber attack?
You know, for decades, the entire security world has worked on one simple idea. Malware is bad code that's hidden inside a file, right? You click an executable, you open up a booby-trapped document, and then the code runs. This completely flips that on its head. The dangerous code is the file's name. The file itself, it can be totally empty.
And look, this isn't some academic theory. This is happening out in the wild, right now. This discovery, it forces us to completely rethink where security tools should even be looking for threats. I mean, think about it. If your antivirus software is only built to scan the contents of files, it is going to miss this attack 100% of the time.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how is this even possible? How can a simple string of text, a file name, be tricked into actually executing commands? Let's decode this whole deception.
All right, the secret sauce here is something called base64 encoding. The best way to think about it is like a digital secret code. It allows attackers to take really dangerous computer commands and just disguise them. They turn them into this long, jumbled up string of text that to us looks like total nonsense. But to a computer, well, it can be tricked into decoding it and running it as a command.
And we're not talking about a file named weird.txt here. The file name they found in the wild was a 163-character monster. It doesn't look like a name at all, and that's part of the genius of it. It looks more like a system glitch or a line of corrupted data. You know, exactly the kind of thing a busy system admin might just glance over and ignore. And this is the sneakiest part of the whole thing. The malware doesn't even need you to click on it. The hidden code gets triggered by simple, everyday system commands that are just designed to read and display file names. But here's what's even worse. This means automated scripts, the ones that run in the background for backups or logging or system maintenance, they could trigger the attack without a human ever even touching the keyboard.
So we've seen the method, the how. Now let's put it all together. How does this one, single, bizarre file name become the first domino to fall in a full-blown system takeover?
It all kicks off pretty simply, actually. A spam email shows up and it's got a compressed file attached, a RAR file. The user opens it up, extracts the contents, and boom, the trap is set. That file with the crazy long name is now sitting on the system. Then, later on, maybe hours or days later, some system script reads that long file name and bam, the hidden code executes. That code then immediately phones home to a command and control server, that's the attacker's home base, which then sends back the real prize, the final malware payload.
So, what's the whole point of this incredibly elaborate trick? Well, it's all designed to install one particularly nasty piece of malware, a tool that's built for long-term spying and total system control.
The endgame here is to install a backdoor called vshell. And listen, this is not your average computer virus. This is a super sophisticated tool, the kind often used by what we call Advanced Persistent Threat Groups, or APTs. We're talking about highly skilled, often state-sponsored hacking teams who are in it for the long haul, targeting critical servers to steal information.
Yeah, once vshell is on a system, it's pretty much game over. It gives the attackers total remote control. They can run any command they want, they can upload or download any file, and they can use that infected machine as a launch pad to attack the rest of the network. And the whole time, they're hiding their communications with strong encryption.
Which brings us to probably the most important question of all. Why is this technique so incredibly effective? And why is it so hard for our security software to stop it?
This single number right here, it says everything you need to know. When the researchers at Trellix took this malicious file and uploaded it to Google's VirusTotal, which is a service that scans files with dozens of different antivirus engines, this is the number of scanners that flagged it as malicious. 0. A big fat 0.
And the reason for that perfect score, for the attackers anyway, is terrifyingly simple. This whole attack exploits a fundamental blind spot. Antivirus software is built to look at the contents of a file. It is not programmed
to look at a 163-character-long file name and ask, hey, wait a second, could that name actually be a command?
Now, while this specific attack on Linux is new, the core idea, believe it or not, has been floating around for a bit. A researcher actually proved it was theoretically possible on Windows systems way back in 2019. But what we're seeing now is the scary evolution of that theory into a real-world weapon, one that's being actively used to compromise critical Linux servers today.
You know, a discovery like this forces us to completely reconsider what we even think of as safe data on a computer. It's a brilliantly clever and evasive technique that just sidesteps decades of security design, and it really leaves us with a provocative final thought. If attackers can weaponize something as basic and fundamental as a file name, what are they going to target next?